All right, what's up? We got another episode. We're reading chapters 25, 26, 27. Creature, any early thoughts?
They certainly were chapters. All right, you ready to get into it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I gotta say, this is the first episode in like a month or two where neither of us are sick.
Yeah?
This is the beginning of a new era. All right. So, chapters 25, 26, and 27. You thought the last 7 chapters were just setup? Well, starting in chapter 25, we continue on from where Shiba was fighting with the guard guy who was trying to find his brother, who was the Sazanami clan kid that they found that had the answers to all of their questions. And so they're fighting in the air. It turns out the Sazanami clan's fighting style is creating and commanding shockwaves. So Shiba and the sorcerer are fighting in the air, and he's using the shockwaves in order to fly around and attack him. He dodges an attack, which when it goes past him, destroys most of a building, which is cool to look at. But he's really fast to react because all of his actions are incredibly simple. So it's easy for me to dodge and beat him, but like, man, these guys are pretty strong. And we continue with this, and then we cut back to Chihiro fighting with the three other guards whose guard group's name is 2. And so Chihiro's beating the shit out of them because he has an enchanted blade and they don't. So the guards keep asking for more swords because the swords keep breaking whenever Chihiro decides to break them. And then we go to the inner monologue of the guy who runs the Sazanami family. And he's like, oh, one of them teleported away, which is a really convenient method of transportation. Why did this kid decide to stay here? I mean, yeah, he's winning, but like, there's no way he's going to keep winning when I have so many weapons to throw at him. And then the guards are like, oh, my sword's broke. We need stronger swords. And so then Chihiro is understanding throughout the fight that they can also control shockwaves. And so he realized that he's running really fast, but the problem is he's not able to build up momentum because anytime he does, they create shockwaves in the exact opposite way that he's moving. So he's always moving slower than he thinks he should be. So there's a point in the fight where he's trapped between one guy who's about to shoot shockwaves at him and another guy with a sword standing behind him. And then Shiba makes the decision to teleport himself and the guard right back to the fight because he's like, these guys are kind of annoying and I don't see myself being able to beat this one guy in a reasonable amount of time, which means Chihiro fighting 3 of them probably seems really annoying. So he decides to teleport back to turn it into a 2 versus 5 rather than a 1v1 and a 1v3. So he teleported the guard back right as he was shooting a shockwave, which just so happens to shoot directly into the shockwave of the ponytail guy, who's the guard in the group called the 2, which there are 4 of. So they bounce off of each other. And Shiba and Chihiro talk about the timing is perfect. The guard that they teleport in talks about the fact that they finally found the brother and now they're here. This sucks. So we go to the inner monologue of the guy who runs the Sazanami, and he's like, oh, so it turns out that phone call that he received right before he teleported was actually a pre-planned event of they found the group. And if they have all of this information necessary, then that means... And then he teleports the kid that they were protecting, the Sazanami kid, with all of the the answers. And so then he teleports him here. And he's talking to the kid like, oh, you led them here. Shinoa? What's her name? Hinao.
No.
Hinao's in the story. Then we cut back to what's actually going on. And so then the leader of the Sazanami clan is like, oh, I'll kill him because he's such a worthless sack of shit. And I hate him for being such a worthless piece of shit. And if he was a sorcerer, he would know that... Okay, Google, stop. He would know that he's marked, but he's not a sorcerer, so he's worthless. Can you put the rice in a container while I continue this? And so then he threatens to kill him, and Shiba and Chihiro are looking at him, and they see his hand shaking. And they're like, oh my God. This is inner monologue, by the way. And they go, oh my God, he's using his son as a hostage. This must be so tough on him. There's no way he'd actually kill him. So all we have to do is bluff that we don't care about him. Give him any excuse so that he doesn't have to kill his kid, because he obviously doesn't want to do it. And then the leader of the Sazanami clan goes, oh, you're looking at my shaking hand? I'm not trembling from sadness. I'm trembling with rage and sadness, because he's so worthless that he's not even worth something as a hostage. So I guess I'll just kill him. And then he goes, the reason why you were able to find him is because I thought a kindness would be just banishing him. But he's worthless, so I'll just kill him. And then Chihiro goes, hey, by the way, actually, I don't think he's worthless. I think he's pretty cool. I think he's a great guy who shouldn't die. So I believe that he has value. And then the leader of the Sazanami clan goes, oh, he's not worthless? Well, then show me what he's worth to you. And then we cut back to Hanao, who is a character in this story. And they're all back, and the Sazanami kid is crying about how sorry he is. And it turns out that the Rakazuchi has a new item on the auction. It's the 7th enchanted blade Inten. Oh my God. And then we cut back to the Sazanami clan head, who again explains all of this again. Because, oh my God, in order to save the kid, they gave up the 7th blade, and they're putting it up for auction. And then we cut back to Chihiro and all the other people, and the Sazanami kid is like, I'm so sorry, I'm so worthless. Oh my God, you... and so they're... And then they talk about like, oh, it's not your fault. And then she was like, oh my God, no, you're right. It's not the kid's fault. It's my fault for bringing the guy back, because that was what led to the deduction from the Sazanami clan head that you were the one giving us the information. And then Chihiro goes, no, no, no. If it's anyone's fault, it's my fault, because I'm the one who chose to stay behind when instead both of us could have run away. But in actuality, it's nobody's fault, because this was exactly my plan, and nothing has gone wrong. That's chapter 25. Man, that sure was a lot of stuff. There was a fight that happened 90% off screen. There was a lot of talking. There was a lot of setup. They certainly were there. I guess I'll just stall until she's back.
I can get my thoughts.
They can't hear you.
They can pick me up from here.
They can pick you up, but it's so quiet. Alright, what do I think of this chapter? Chihiro and this entire story are moving in a direction that resembles going forward. They all say exactly what they mean right after they thought exactly what they mean, and it just keeps going on in a loop of just, oh, my hand's shaking. That's not because I'm hesitating to kill the child. It's because he's such a worthless fuck. And it's just like, man, we got it when you hinted at it. You don't have to hint at it, then have the characters think it, then have a character say it out loud. It's getting really annoying that you keep doing the same thing over and over again. The fight scene looked cool, but the problem is, no one got hurt. Everyone just dodged every attack. And if someone was in danger of getting hit, Shiba teleported in at the perfect time, with the person he's holding being pointed in the perfect direction in order to negate the attack the other person was going to use. And it just, like, is this fight scene any better than the fight scene they had with the Bone Ash person? Because they have that fight and everyone ends up super wounded and they almost lost, and then there's just a time skip for like a month later, so everyone's perfectly fine again in the very next scene. No, I guess not. What do you think of chapter 25?
I was pretty disappointed. It seemed like it was building up to a really big, important fight scene.
Remember, the auction hasn't happened yet, and that's when everything matters. We're still at the setup phase of we have to know what everyone's powers are so that when they do them, they can re-explain them again during the big fight.
Yeah, I was hoping that there would have been more of a fight. It was just, oh man, this guy has powers. I can beat him, but I don't think Chihiro can. Zoop. Alright, if we work together. Oh, you're giving up. Okay. I, I, I was just really disappointed in it.
Do you think that this gets points for what it sets up in the next two chapters? Just
no.
yes or no? No, it doesn't? Okay. What do you give this out of 10?
2.
A 2 out of 10. I'd give this a 4 out of 10. I think it's barely below acceptable. I think it's fine. It's just really annoying. The setup has to be this way in this story. It's not my favorite.
I mean, to me, it's like your parents say, hey, let's go get ice cream, and everyone gets loaded up into the car, and you go to your favorite ice cream place. Everyone else orders, and then right when you're about to order, they're like, oh yeah, we already ordered for you. We got you pistachio. Well, but I don't like pistachio. Oh.
No. What this is, oh yeah, we're getting ice cream. You drive to the ice cream store, it's on layaway. You'll get it in the next 10 chapters. You wanted a fight scene with these people? It's on layaway. All right, chapter 26. Let's go.
Yippee.
21 is not worth living in. All right.
What?
So we start chapter 26 by them letting us know that it is now November 3rd.
What day was it before then?
We are actually able to know that. I'm just not putting in the effort. So we cut to the Bone Ash user and the sumo wrestler guy. And we start with a joke about the fact that their orders are swapped because there's a big plate of spaghetti and a small parfait. And so the Bone Ash person likes to eat a lot of spaghetti in order to recharge, in order to fight better.
And it has to be spaghetti.
And they're just now finding out about the fact that the Rakazuchi has the Inten, even though the leader of the governmental agency apparently knew, like, the second they got whatever. And so now we start explaining why it's a good thing that they stole Inten, because the kid that they have, their original plan was to like get him to become the head of the clan and then steal the ability to access the treasury. But because of the fact that that probably won't work, they need to understand how the warehouse works so that they're able to get the stuff out of it so that they can kill the guy, because right now they have no way of beating the Rakazuchi with the fact that they can't kill the head guy, because then all the slaves and the enchanted blades will all die alongside it. So they now need to be able to get information about the inside of it, and they also need to understand that the kid that they have is worthless for this fact. So they have Inten in the place, and so they are going to use an ability in which the sword itself has a like offshoot of its ability. Like, it has the three main abilities of red, black, and Nishiki, and then it also just kind of creates goldfish out of Chihiro's spirit energy. Like, every time right before a fight scene happens where they're in a building or something, we've always seen goldfish just kind of flying around. We're learning now that those are a kind of like spiritual sonar that gives Chihiro information on what's going on around the goldfish, because we thought that those were just like artistic renditions of like he's here but no one knows it. But then in a fight scene a few chapters ago, it turns out other people can see them, and now we know of why you'd want to announce your presence before you're there or when you're in an elevator going up in order to a fight scene, is because it gives you information. So he loaded the sword with spiritual energy so that he can remotely activate this side effect of having spiritual energy within the sword in order to scout out the inside of the warehouse, because they're hoping that the warehouse is a physical location that he just has access to, and they can go in there, grab the stuff, and then kill him, rather than what they're hoping it's not, is a storage universe within his being that if he dies, it all crumbles into itself. Oh, Char's a character in this story. Anyway, the reason why he's able to figure out that he can probably do this and why he tested it is because he heard from the Cloud Gouger recovery team that Sojo was able to activate Mei remotely, which was when Sojo was in the air getting the shit kicked out of him and they actually had the Cloud Gouger. He activated Mei and it shot lightning and then the sword shot into his hand. And so you can activate sword abilities if you're not holding the sword as long as you pre-charge it with energy. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. I didn't write any of this down, by the way, because it's kind of intuitive. And then we get the scene with Shiba. That is the background of this episode.
I'm shocked. It gives me the chills.
I think it's funny. I laughed.
Oh, and you lost.
And then from there, we talk about the fact of, oh no, the kid thinks he's worthless, but I have to let him know that him forcing my hand into giving Inten to the storage house was actually a really good thing because I was considering whether or not I should do it, but I did it because he believed in me enough that I was capable of believing in myself enough that even if they take the sword, I'm still the sword user with the lifelong contract, so they can't do anything bad with it. So I'm willing to let it go because he trusts me, which means he's cool, which I trust myself, which means we're both cool. All right.
That katana suits you.
And so using his scouting from the goldfish and Inten, he's like, oh, hey, that guy can enter the warehouse. That's weird. And the guy, the leader of the Sazanami clan, notices the goldfish, but the goldfish hides. And so he's like, oh, I thought I saw something. And then the Sazanami clan guy thinks in his own head while he's alone, I'm glad that he gave up Inten, and I'm glad that I think that he has a plan to get it back, because it would be boring if I just got items for the auction house. I also need entertainment. So him having a plan to get it back is really interesting to me so that I can practice how good I am at protecting the Rakazuchi, but I can also have fun. And in his eyes when he left, it wasn't hopelessness when he gave me the sword, which means that he's blah blah blah.
I need to write something down.
And then we cut to the guards of the Rakazuchi all talking about, oh my god, there's 2 enchanted blades on the line tonight. It's so crazy. And then we find out it's the day of the Rakazuchi. Ooh. Alright.
It has nothing to do with this. It's just, I will forget if I don't write it down.
Okay. And that's the end of chapter 26.
You go first.
No.
Why?
Go first.
Okay. It was just explaining a lot. But also, the scene where they're in the car with all 5 of them, Chihiro, Sorcerer Dude, Worthless Dude, Hinao, and Char, it made me realize, because they rescued Char and did all of that stuff, her arc is over. She's just a background character now.
And a healer.
And a healer, which she has done once.
Twice.
3
times, because technically she also healed the kid.
True. She's just there when she's needed. And same with Hinao. She's just there to set up stuff. Like when, Sojo? What's the sorcerer dude's name? Shiba. When Shiba teleported him and the shockwave dude out, Hinao was just there to be like, where'd they go? She's just there to set things up and to be like, remember how this happened? Well, this is her reaction. And I swear to God, the end of this arc is just going to be useless sorcerer dude either he learns how to use sorcery, but like at a low level. So every time you see him, it's just he's training, or he's just part of the group, and he's just there to set up and explain things.
Do
And
you remember what I said he would do?
what?
He's going to fight against that one guy, the guard, that was chasing after him in the last chapter, but he's going to already have the shit beat out of him, so he's going to be really weakened, and he's going to unlock some really weak sorcery ability, and he's going to beat the guard, and he's going to be like, oh my god, I'm so much better than I thought I was. I'm a samurai.
Yeah. It just makes me worried about the way that they're treating all of the characters. And yeah, so this chapter, it set up stuff. Chihiro learned that the whole recon thing with the sword, he learned that he could do that. So it set up some important things, but all in all, it seemed like a very... It's kind of nothing of a chapter.
They were here.
They were here, the bone chick eating spaghetti, a big pile of spaghetti.
God, you're gonna make me look up this fucker on Wikipedia.
I don't think you should, because you're gonna get spoilers.
Yeah, but I need a fucking pronoun. Continue. Iyuki.
Hiyuki. Look up Hiyuki.
How am I stopping you from talking?
You're not. I'm just... I get distracted easily. Anyways, Hiyuki is a young woman with black eyes. Anyways,
Yep, female. Okay, it's a chick. Got it. We're there.
I think I'd have to give it like a 3, maybe a 4. I'm sure all of the stuff that they explained is going to be important somehow. But I just don't really care about this chapter. Nothing... The only quote-unquote important thing that we learned is that the goldfish we've been seeing are him doing recon to see what's going on so he can be prepared to fight. So, yeah, I'll give it a 4.
5. This chapter has a bunch of stuff I hate. This chapter has a bunch of information that would be cool, but the problem is they keep saying that information over and 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 over again. So like, wow, that's really neat. This is the 3rd time they're telling us that the sword is at the auction house.
Yeah.
In this chapter alone, it's just whatever. So yeah, chapter 26, mid. Chapter 27.
Yummy.
It's the day of the Rakazuchi. So that means that there's no time to waste on any frivolous side stories where just it's going to be all gas, no breaks. We've had our 20 chapters that's hyperbolic, but someone's going to take me seriously. We've had our 6 chapters of setup. It's time. The Rakazuchi is now. All right. So we start with the leader of the Sazanami clan talking about the fact that like, oh wow, the plan's gonna go crazy. You know, it'll be super fun to see what they're going to do. Nothing has happened up till now, which means things are gonna go wild. And then we get a look at the guards, and we have one guard with a mustache and dreads, maybe, explaining to someone who's off screen who is Shiba. He's explaining this stuff to Shiba about the fact that every underworld group who has enough money and prestige to have a name in the underworld comes to the Rakazuchi. And every group only allows 3 people down into the auction house, whereas the rest of their group patrols the inside and the outside of the arena. The Sazanami clan guarantees the protection of everyone who's downstairs, but the upstairs portion that leads to the downstairs area is guarded by the groups of people who don't go down with the higher-ups. Alright, that's information we have now for some reason. And then this guard also starts explaining to definitely not Shiba, who's Shiba, that the Chihiro, with his description being scar on the left side of his face and his right arm is worthless or wounded or the reason why I'm saying right arm is worthless instead of wounded is because him having a usable right arm is apparently enough for people to not know that that's him. So that has to be like a mistranslation or something. Because if it's just wounded, of course he has his right hand. And so they're explaining this. They're handing them out to everyone. If they kill him, the price on the intent is going to go way up, because then you'll actually be able to give the sword to someone who'll be able to be the real wielder. It's a den of iniquity, teeming with yakuza and sorcerers. All sorts of evil transpires.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing again of Rakazuchi evil. They sell slaves. That's bad. And then, you know how I just said we probably don't have enough time for frivolous side stuff, because why would we do that? Mr. Inazuma, the hero who brings down the thunder of justice on evil. Also, it's really funny that the thunder of justice is this kid, but oh my, at the end of the chapter, that's going to be such a funny reveal.
Don't spoil it.
Oh my god.
They have to watch for another, like, 10 to 15 minutes to find it out.
And we get the backstory on the hero of justice, Mr. Inazuma, because his sister was telling him about how thunder and lightning is only bad for bad people, and that's why it happens on bad days, because good people don't get hurt. So the kid walks through the gate, and the guards at the gate are like, haha, look at this kid. One invader, be on alert, and they don't stop him in any way. So then the inner guards stop him, and it's like, oh my god, move, bad guys. I'm here to free my sister because she's a part of the auction tonight. And so the guards are like, your sister? Really? If you give me 500,000, I'll show you who buys your big sis. Haha, we're so funny and evil. And then the kid stabs the guy in the arm with a knife because he thinks of his sister and wants his sister to be free, which does actually nothing to the guy holding him. He just kind of keeps holding him. And so then they start talking about the fact that they're going to beat the shit out of this child, and then they're going to beat the shit out of the outer guards who just let the guy walk through. But then we cut to the outer guards, and oh my god, they're dead. And Chihiro's here. And the guard who's out front talking to Shiba, because it's Shiba now, is like, oh, that's Chihiro. He has the scar on his face. And then Shiba's like, no, look carefully. He's got both arms. Obviously, that's not him. And the guy he's talking to is like, oh, true. So then Shiba starts walking away and is like, oh, well, I got to go help Chihiro. I got to go turn off all the lights. And the guard's like, who? And he's like, yeah, whatever. And so then Shiba's standing on a terrace up top, and looking down at the guards about to stab this child. And we get another flashback of the child and their sister being siblings. And then the kid is crying a lot, saying his name is Mr. Inazuma. He'll rain down the thunder of justice. And as they're about to stab the kid, oh my god, Chihiro cuts off the arm of this guy with his secondary blade, because he doesn't have Inten. So of course the only blade he has is the secondary one, which means he's going to be fighting with a short blade. That's so cool. And then we have a moment of Chihiro talking to Mr. Inazuma, the hero who brings down justice. And as they're talking, the chandelier falls on the guy who was going to kill the kid. And then everyone notices that it's actually Chihiro. It's almost 12 for the thing to start. Then we get a flashback to them in the car talking before they get to the Rakazuchi. Chihiro says he'll handle all the guards, while Shiba handles the important stuff. And then we get a black page of Chihiro saying Koragumo, which, if you remember, is the Japanese name of the cloud gouger. And then he says May, and he has the cloud gouger. Oh my god. So he has a enchanted... Boy, I'm getting lightheaded. And so, after that, the leader of the Sazanami clan says, let the 208th Rakazuchi commence. And then we cut back to them in the car saying at 12 the operation begins, which, oh my god, it's 12 o'clock in the current time. What do you think of chapter 27?
I honestly forgot that they were able to get Cloud Gouger back.
You remember how we talked about the fact that the Cloud Gouger was broken into two pieces, and then there was that person in the background with the suitcase who was there and then teleported away? And I thought that they like took the real Cloud Gouger and they had a fake version of the Cloud Gouger, but it was broken, so they would never know the difference. He has the real Cloud Gouger because he's able to use its powers. So
I'm wondering if the Cloud Gouger is still broken.
well, yeah, it's still in its sheet, so it could be broken in half. That would be cool.
And he's just using the broken blade.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be neat.
What do you think of the chapter?
It really set up for a big payoff. I'll give it a 5.
What do you think of Mr. Inazuma?
Certainly a character that exists.
What do you think of the fact that he's the hero Thunder Justice, and
He
oh my
rains down
god,
the thunder of justice.
he's gonna use a thunder sword to bring justice to the bad people. What do you think of that connection? Doesn't that raise it by at least another 5 points, making it a perfect chapter?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, perfectly average, I guess. It's got set up, and hopefully there will be some payoff. What do you think?
I'm literally lightheaded.
Yeah?
Man, this certainly was a chapter where things are gonna happen soon.
So, what do you give it?
I can't even give more information because all the information I gave, I already said. You'd think that that explanation, going through it the first time, would be really, like, incomplete. But no. They repeat the same things and they flash back to them talking so much that I literally explained everything about the chapter and how I feel about it. I'm bored. This has bored me. I'm bored now.
Okay.
2 out of 10.
Damn.
This is quite possibly my least favorite chapter of all time. Literally, the last chapter says at the end, we're at the Rakuzuchi. It's the day of. We're ready. We've had our 6 chapters of setup already. We start reading this chapter. We're at the Rakuzuchi. We see the guards. We have a plan. We're gonna go in. Nothing happens.
Yeah. It really do be that way, huh?
2 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We love all of our fans, and we hope that you're having a good time. I understand the fact that it's kind of difficult to enjoy things when the people who you're watching aren't enjoying it, but I hope I'm at least overplaying how much I hate this to the point where, like, it's enjoyable for you guys. If it's not, be sure to tell me in the comments down below. Bye.
Okay, bye.